Hey, so in this exploration of semantic variation and change, there's six main types of change that we're going to focus on. Denotation, we have broadening slash generalization, narrowing slash specialization, metaphorical change, metonymy. Then under connotation, we have amelioration and pejoration. So this brings us right to our first word, which is corpse. In the late 13th Old Century French, corps meant body, person, corpse, life. In Latin, it is seen as corpus, and it also means body. Nowadays, though, the definition is used today as the dead body of a man. Even though it was formerly any animal, this semantic change is pejoration and specialization. Pejoration, as the change from living to dead, has very negative connotations. Also, specialization, because it's used to refer to all the animals, and now it only refers to humans' dead bodies. Moving right along to our next word, disease. In early 14th century, it meant absence of ease, uneasiness, discomfort, or annoyance. This meaning is now obsolete, but interestingly, it is still somewhat revived in the modern use with the orthographic representation dis-ease, two separate words. Today it refers to a condition of the body, where some parts are disturbed or deranged. This is another example of pejoration. A disease no longer connotates an annoyance, it connotates something much worse, death. Moving right along, our third word is fame. So, in the early 13th century, it meant any character attributed to someone. This term has now specialized to be a character attributed specifically to a person or thing by report or generally entertained. Fame has undergone amelioration, as it used to be associated with evil, repute, and infamy. However, today, fame is usually seen in a good sense. Our fourth word is journey. In the 14th century, journey meant sense, relating to time, a day. However, today it connotates images of travel, moving from one place to another. This change took place because of metaphor. This is a metaphor because the change was based on the quality of time in the word journey. The aspect of time was transferred from the original word to a metaphorical sense. This is clarified in the older variations of the definition, journey. From the OED, we have, with qualification, a day's journey, and the daily course of the sun through the heavens. Our fifth word, science. So, in the 14th century, science was defined by a very general definition. It was what is known, knowledge, or acquired by study. In other words, information. This, today, has specialized or narrowed to mean a study that relates to the phenomenon of the physical universe and their laws. Sometimes it is even specialized to imply exclusion of pure mathematics. Our next word is starve, and has a lot going on. So, starve came from the Old English steferen, to die. This has now specialized to mean, specifically, die from hunger. Interestingly though, starve is still used very frequently as a hyperbole. People will say, I'm starving. They don't mean that they're dying, but that they're very hungry. This also has an emulation effect, as starve used to mean widespread death, referring to the plague. Vulgar. Today, vulgar has a very negative connotation, but it used to be defined as the common or usual language of the country, the vernacular, in other words. Later, in the 14th century, it came to mean the common people. Today, it is much more negative and means lacking in sophistication or unrefined. This change in meaning can be categorized as metonymy and pejoration. Metonymy, because the language the common people spoke became a word that referred to them in general. Pejoration, as it no longer means common, but it means unrefined. And our eighth word is spill. In Old English, spill meant to destroy or kill. Later, in the 16th century, it meant to spoil by injuring or damaging, to render imperfect. It also meant to waste by scattering or misusing. Today it means to cause specifically a liquid to fall, pour, or run out, usually in an accidental manner. This is probably one of the most dramatic changes, as it went from to kill to an accidental gesture. Seeing all these definitions back to back shows the process of amelioration, and also specialization, as now it only refers to liquids. The ninth word is awful. Awful used to have religious connotations and meant profoundly reverential. Today it has a very opposite meaning, and the definition can refer to dreadful. This, again, is an example of pejoration and metaphor. Metaphor, as the quality of reverential fear, made the meaning of the word in general much more negative. Pejoration, as it no longer refers to something that is full of awe, but something very unpleasant. Last but not least, the 10th word I chose is meat. Today, meat refers to the flesh of an animal, especially a mammal, as food. Before, in the 15th century, meat was the word that was used to describe food for nourishment of the people. It referred to all food. This change is specialization. Specifically, inside specialization, it is defined as divergence. It is divergence as meat refers to a more similarly related item. For example, everything we refer to as meat is now animal flesh. Thank you all for exploring semantic changes with me. I hope you learned a few things and enjoyed the animations that helped to clarify these definitions.